begins this season, for West Ham boss David Moyes, it has felt like one long goodbye. With his contract running out this summer, the stay or go narrative has now ended, with the news confirmed that he will leave the club at the end of the season, with former Spain, Real Madrid and Wolves boss Julian Lopetegui set to take over. On Saturday, the 61-year-old Scot will get a chance to acknowledge the fans who have been on a remarkable journey with him that took them from the relegation zone during the COVID break to glory and silverware on a never-to-be-forgotten night in Prague. For many neutral observers, this decision might seem harsh. Even now, after a dreadful run post-Christmas, where heavy defeats by Arsenal, Palace and Chelsea have contributed to a joint record highest goals conceded in a Premier League season for West Ham, they are still on track for a top 10 finish. It would be Moyes' third in 4.5 seasons. No West Ham manager has achieved that since Harry Redknapp over 2 decades ago. But modern day football is a brutal business. Moyes' final task will be to plot the downfall of Pep Guardiola's Manchester City on the final day of the season. After that, the former Man United manager will decide whether to resume his managerial career elsewhere or take up the offer to work with UEFA around the technical aspects of the game. But whatever he does, what will his legacy be at West Ham, where for many years fans have wanted him gone, been tired of his performances, and a lot of them are now happy with the news that he has left? Is he a West Ham legend for delivering a European trophy, or just a manager who will be appreciated for that European run but nothing else? Let's take a look at David Moyes' West Ham legacy. It is necessary that we mention the context of which Moyes joined West Ham. He walked into a club with a tradition of inconsistency. Slaven Bilic, Sam Allardyce, Gianfranco Zola, Alan Pardew and Glenn Roeder all had one fantastic season in the Premier League with West Ham, but none of them could muster a second. Unglamorous but unrelenting, Moyes was a manager out of keeping with West Ham's past. He would sign a few flair players such as Mohamed Kudus and Lucas Paqueta, but the rest of the team sought few points for artistic merit. West Ham did not try and play the same brand of football as the elite under Moyes, and yet a way in which he gave them a status was that they secured a healthy number of wins over their superiors. Arsenal were beaten twice this season, Man United, Tottenham and Chelsea once apiece. Much as West Ham have become fixtures in Europe again, they have also become a team who can compete in England, especially under David Moyes. Now many people will look at this and look at the table, look at West Ham, where they were and what they are now, look at the loss of Declan Rice last summer, and believe no manager could have done any more than Moyes. Yet, that overlooks a significant point. Hammers fans pay to watch their team. While there is widespread appreciation for what Moyes has achieved, a growing number are fed up at the way he has gone about it. In an era of high-press, risk-taking front-foot football, they view Moyes as largely a defensive coach. This is kind of unfair. There are times, the 5-0 win against Freiburg and the second leg salvage mission against Bayer Leverkusen, when West Ham are a thrilling team to watch under David Moyes. However, the sentiment after those games tends to be, why can't we play like that every week? And more often than not, it is some dull, unattractive style of play under Moyes. In addition, they see a development pathway strong enough to produce last season's FA Youth Cup winners that hardly supplies any exception of Rice, the only regular homegrown member of Moyes' squad has been ex-England under-21 defender Ben Johnson, who is expected to leave in the summer anyway. This was anticipated to be a breakthrough season for 19-year-old striker David Moyes, but the local boy is yet to start a Premier League game and has not come off the bench since the draw with Sheffield United in January. Moyes is not adverse to using young players, but he needs to be sure they are capable of performing at the high level required. He was slated over the £18 million departure of Grady Diangana in 2020. Current sporting director Mark Noble, captain at the time, was among those to voice his disapproval. Diangana has gone on to make over 130 appearances for West Brom, most of them in the Championship, a third of them as a substitute, so probably was the right decision looking back. Supporters can have their opinions on that, but Moyes believes he knows whether players are good enough or not and acts accordingly. And to be fair to Moyes, he has tried to make West Ham less reliant on the counter-attack. While he sidelined record signing Sebastian Haller when he returned for a second stint as manager in December 2019, and a second demand to drive the club clear of relegation, the £30 million arrival of Italy forward Gianluca Scamacca in 2022 was supposed to be part of a new era under Moyes. But after a decent start, Scamacca went 9 games without a goal as West Ham slipped down the table. Apart from 3 substitute appearances, he didn't play from January until the end of the season. The Hammers needed to scrap to survive that year, and Moyes was forced to revert to type. Bowen and Antonio were required to score amid the failings of some other forward signings that did not work out, whether that be Danny Ings, Maxwell Cornet or Nikola Vlasic, or even the men Manuel Pellegrini left in Felipe Anderson. Perhaps it reflected the wider struggle to play better football. But reverting back to type that year was just what West Ham needed, as they picked their way through the Europa Conference League, culminating in that glorious night when Moyes showed his emotional side after finally underlining an outstanding managerial career by winning a trophy thanks to Bowen's last-minute winner. Yet, even as Moyes celebrated that triumph, which was West Ham's first silverware in 43 years, and qualified for a third consecutive European campaign for the first time in their history, some fans felt it would be an appropriate time for him to leave. Just short of 12 months on, those supporters have got their wish. After landing West Ham their first European trophy since 1965, Moyes enjoyed a strong first half of this season, with the club 6th at the turn of the year after beating Arsenal 2-0 at the Emirates and topping their Europa League group. However, they have won just 3 Premier League games in 2024 and were thumped 5-2 by Crystal Palace and 5-0 by Chelsea in their last 2 away matches. As results dipped, there was talk of tension between Moyes and Tim Steidten, West Ham's technical director, who was appointed in the summer following success in the Bundesliga, and the pair have not always aligned on transfer targets. Moyes, more of an old-school manager who likes to maintain control of his signings, favoured solid players and a British core, with the squad pushing for the loan signing of Calvin Phillips in January. That being said, in Mo Kudus, Edson Alvarez and James Ward-Prowse, whether that be due to Moyes or not, those are excellent players who were signed, and Moyes still leaves arguably West Ham's strongest squad for 2 decades, despite a couple of missteps this season. Choosing Kurt Zouma as captain seems one, amid the disastrous defensive record and capitulations. Allowing Pablo Fornals and Said Benrahma to go in January, reducing the attacking options, and instead signing Calvin Phillips, whose loan in London has been calamitous, was another set of mistakes by Moyes. With Steinden playing a leading role in the search for a new manager, one of Moyes' final acts was to stop him from entering the first team dressing room or West Ham's training ground, which went down very badly with the board. Then it was revealed Moyes and West Ham had agreed terms with Lopetegui before the club finally put Moyes out of his misery and announced he was leaving by mutual consent that evening. But Moyes has been here before. Just 10 months into his 6-year contract at Man United, almost everyone seemed to have heard about his sacking apart from him. Not once did Ed Woodward, the United chairman, inform him that performances needed to improve. It was only after journalists, family, friends, agents started to call him following a loss to Everton that he realised he was about to lose his job. He was eventually fired 48 hours later. Yet, after that brutal end at United, which was followed by a mixed period abroad with Real Sociedad and a poor spell at Sunderland, Moyes has now emerged with his reputation greatly enhanced after this spell with West Ham. He'll now get his fond farewell from the fans at the London Stadium against Luton Town, but Moyes was deserving of greater respect from the West Ham hierarchy than this rather hollow goodbye. What makes this move more bizarre is the replacement. Julian Lopetegui is hardly a Pep disciple and is not known for his good brand of football. In fact, he's more known for being fairly pragmatic, almost David Moyes-esque, just with a more fancy name and resume. So, it almost seems as if the board made this decision based on results, not because of the way Moyes plays and wanting to modernise the club and style of play. And if it's based on results, this sacking, then that's crazy, considering, say what you want about Moyes, but he has delivered results throughout his time at West Ham. So, with all that being said, eventually, history will judge Moyes to be a legendary figure at West Ham, standing alongside Ron Greenwood and John Lyall as someone who won something for this famous old East London club. West Ham haven't got loads of trophies, particularly European ones in their cabinet, so anybody who delivers one will be a legend, and even if he doesn't feel like one right now, and definitely isn't being treated like one by his board or fans, in 20 years' time, you can guarantee that West Ham will look back on Moyes as a West Ham legend. Because at the end of the day, when you look back on Wikipedia, you will see David Moyes was a manager when West Ham lifted their first European trophy, and it will not say David Moyes played bad, pragmatic football alongside that. It will only say he won the trophy, and that is all that matters. So there we go. That is the legacy of David Moyes at West Ham. Thank you very much to Kudos Season, who recommended I do this video. He's been wanting me to do a West Ham video for a while now. I know I have a lot of Hammers fans watching, so I'd love to get your take on David Moyes, the situation. Are you happy he's gone? Firstly, and secondly, where do you stand on his legacy? Is he a West Ham legend or not quite? I would love to hear your thoughts. Personally, I think he is, just purely based on lifting that trophy for West Ham. I think it's quite harsh, but I completely understand why they got rid of him. I just think it's a bit weird that they got rid of him and they've gone for Lopetegui. I thought they were going to go for someone like Amorim, a bit more expansive, but we'll see how he does. If Lopetegui is going to be the guy who comes in, as a recording that is not confirmed, but yeah, let me know your thoughts on David Moyes at West Ham, anything discussed in this video, and if you have enjoyed, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in another video.